soon. Okay. Okay, today's lesson will be a rack back lead. What is a rack back lead? A rack back lead is the simplest of all leads in masonry construction, usually built in the center of a long wall, mainly out of brick. A rack back lead is another form of a lead, but it's only built in the center of a long wall. It helps dictate and direct the activity of both leads on the adjoining ends so that the line is pulled tight enough to maintain the height of a wall. How do we do that? First and foremost, we get the center of our wall and on our wall line. With that being said, we lay 4 brick all together and maintain a levelness. As you can see, these little X spots will be the plumb points. Each individual brick has to be plumb and at a correct height. Once those bricks are laid and plumb and a correct height of 5, and the reason why we use a course height of 5, because that's going to maintain that course height to get us 8 inches. And you always want to try to maintain that 8-inch increment mark so that the joints stay uniform. And in some cases, yes, you may have to redirect those course heights to 4 or possibly 6, which is bigger, in order to hit the block course height. Because usually a rack back lead is built in the center of a long wall, like I said, and it has block backup. So it's used as a veneer. So as we know that each block is laid at 8 inches, that's what 3 courses of brick should equal is 8 inches. So when they're tied in from one another, that they line up so that the wall ties or the door wall with the hooks and anchors all line up evenly. So the first course is then laid. We have those plumb points there. Then we will proceed to the second course. The second course is then laid on top like we did in the past, making sure each head joint is perfectly in line with the center of the course beneath it. This is so important. We should know at this point that any mason that builds a lead is usually an experienced journeyman or a mason that really knows how to use the tools. So this lead that is built up, we have to align our head joints, line up perfectly over center. And we start that process over again. Lay the course, level the course, and then plumb them. As you can see, the location of the plumb points change, but they still will be able to be maintained for every other course. And what I mean is when you see me demonstrate this, you'll see what I mean to make sure that those courses stay in line with one another and stay straight. So you have 2 courses laid. We'll begin the third course the same way, spread our bed joint, set our 2 brick, and then level them. Every time you build a rack back lead, you don't lay 1 brick at a time, you lay the whole course, which in this case is 4 brick. And that helps maintain that levelness and straightness that we're looking for. And if you notice, once that third course is laid, the plumb points are the same as the first course. That way it helps align with those courses that are being laid above and the one that's in between. And it's so important that we maintain those uniform joints from one another. That helps to make sure when the closure brick is coming in from both ends of our lead that they fit in there evenly. And then of course we're going to finish off with 1 brick on the top. That'll help maintain our height with a course height of 5. And we'll make sure that that third course lines up with our fourth course lines up with our second course so that they're perfectly uniform one over the other. So in review of the whole thing, yes, a rack back lead, in my professional opinion, and most masons, is the simplest of the leads being built. There is no return and there is no angle. It's just straight running brick lead. And it's usually always built in a long wall so that it helps maintain the levelness and height from point A to point B. This concludes the lesson for today, which is a rack back lead. I will begin to do the demonstration on how it's built correctly.